This will early emphasis on the importance of attending the meeting or letting us know you're not going to attend the meeting. So appreciate that in advance for all following meetings. We'll start with the pledge. Everyone join me. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And welcome again, and thank you all for being here. My name is Jordan Stewart, and I am the new chair of our organization, and I represent New Kent County in the easternmost district with Reverend Hathaway. Get the pleasure of driving to the city every day, so I get to be here with you all. I'm really looking forward to the next 9 months we'll spend together and appreciate all of the fun time and work and collaboration that we're going to put into making this regional convener something really beneficial for all of our localities. And with that, Ms. Scott, would you give us a roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Town of Ashland, Mr. Chambers.
Here.
Dr. McGraw.
Here.
Mayor Trevette.
Here.
Charles City County Vice Chair Patterson.
Here.
Mr. Atkins. Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Here.
Mr. Davy.
Here.
Mr. Holland. Mr. Engel.
Here.
Dr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Petrosky. Ms. Schneider. Goochland County, Mr. Cosby. Mr. Spoonhour.
Here.
Mr. Lyle. Hanover County, Mr. Davis. Ms. Dibble. Mr. Ledbetter. Ms. Pritchard. Mr. Waddell.
Present.
Henrico County, Mr. Bast.
Here.
Reverend Cooper.
Here.
Mr. Mackey. Reverend Nelson. Mr. Rogish. Mr. Schmidt. Ms. Roundtree. Here. New Kent County, Mr. Hathaway.
Here.
Ms. Pearson. Chair Stewart.
Here.
Tam County, Mr. Donati.
Here.
Mr. McClung. Mr. Powers. Ms. Winall. City of Richmond, Ms. Jordan. Ms. Knight. Dr. Newbill. That concludes the roll call for attendance. We do have a quorum.
So thank you, Ms. Scott.
Yes. Excuse me. Good morning. This is Dwayne Cosby from Goochland County. I couldn't get unmuted when you called my name. Sorry about that.
Good morning. I do have you marked as present
All right.
virtually. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
So that's a very natural segue to our certification of members from a remote location. And I've received 2 remote participation requests from Mr. Waddell and Mr. Cosby. Mr. Waddell for a temporary or permanent disability or other medical condition that prevents the member's physical attendance. And for Mr. Cosby, would you like to share your reason? You can pick from Go ahead.
Yes,
Yes,
Charlie Waddell of Hanover County. I have tested positive for COVID, and my doctor advises that he offer you the option to mute me whenever, and I should stay remote.
Thank you, Mr. Waddell. We might take you up on that.
Full control, Mr. Waddell. You already muted him.
Mr. Cosby?
Yes. Again, good morning. I'm traveling, so I may go in and out between ducking in airports and ducking in and off of planes. So forgive me for that.
Well, thank you. We're glad you're both able to join us in the virtual world. Do we need to
Just
move?
need a motion
Okay.
to approve it.
So could I have a motion to approve the decision to allow Mr. Waddell and Mr. Cosby to participate remotely?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. Right, do we have any guests joining us today? Or is everyone paid to be here? Well, okay, well, glad you're all here, regardless of whether or not you were paid to be here. Do we have any amendments to our agenda this morning? Do we have any members of the public online or here in person? All right, we're just moving and grooving, guys. You may, if this, is this anybody's first meeting? Welcome, 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 welcome. So no commissioners' first meeting, right? So though it's not any of our first meeting, you will notice that our agenda is formatted a little bit differently than it has been in the past. And it's my hope and our executive director's hope as well that we can really share this time together every other month to have a conversation and collaboration with one another. That's not so much just sit, get, spit, forget, as my high school teachers would say. We want this to be a valuable use of your time and not something that just checks the box. We want it to be valuable to your localities and to your region. So you'll notice the changes in the agenda really hope to accomplish that. And they also align directly with the key imperatives that the commission has worked with Ms. Schickel to establish over the last year. So we just really want to make sure our time here is well spent. So if you have any burning desire on how this agenda is formatted, please let me know, but we're thinking that it's going to work out well for all of us. We'll move right into section B on our agenda, and this is the strategic vision alignment and update. And we're going to hear from members of the staff, so this is why we might have a more robust crowd in the back today. And this is going to be a bit more staff presentation heavy than our future meetings will be, but it's because we want to start off our first meeting of the year on a strong foot and really show what the organization is doing and working on behalf of the region and the strength that we have here in the region. And I've heard they've timed themselves, so they're not going to go over their time. So thank you. The first is we'll do a spotlight topic, Pathways to the Future on Economic Development. So I would like to invite Barbara Jaycox and Ellen Cook to provide a brief update on the status of the region's comprehensive economic development strategy that's scheduled for completion this FY.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stewart. It's a pleasure to be before you again this morning. I'm Barbara Jaycox, Director of Community Development here at PlanRVA, and I'm joined by Ellen Cook, who has served as the project manager for the economic development strategy. And this is it, the full title is the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, or the CEDS, as we've commonly referred to it. Our community development staff has been creatively supported by our strong data team, our innovative communications team, and staff leadership. It's really been a team effort these last 10 months. The introduction of the CEDS was featured at the annual March 14th Pi Day that we held with the community, and you've received periodic updates. I think we also talked about it at the April meeting in conjunction with PHA's housing framework. But this is our second full CEDS, with the first being in 2014. Once again, this effort was made possible by a planning grant from the U.S. Department of Commerce, the Economic Development Administration, and a small grant from Region 4, Go Virginia Region 4, Grow Capital Jobs Foundation. Funds from the Southeast Crescent Regional Commission, the SCRC, also support all of our efforts in economic development, reaching out to our localities. So we can move on to the next slide. Thanks. And as Ms. Stewart reminded us, we are grounded in our regional strategic vision with these interconnected themes adopted by the board in June. All 5 of these themes are addressed by the regional CEDS. It serves as the regional core plan, expressing our vision, goals, actions, and partners to help ensure a strong economy in the Richmond region. And again, to remind you that the regional strategic vision guides all functional areas of the core plans. Along with the PHA housing framework, the CEDS serves as the community development core plan, and it's been updated to reflect the changes over the last decade that we have seen tremendous change in our ecosystem. The CEDS nests and collaborates with a family of regional plans, all to carry out the pathways to the future. We share resources, data, methodologies, and strategic thinking to move the region forward efficiently and hopefully with positive impact. So I'm going to call on Ellen Cook, who's been the project manager through this process, to give you a high-level update of the SEDS. Thanks.
Thank you, Barbara. The SEDS update has been an opportunity to think from an economic development perspective about these questions: where we are as a region, where we want to go and how we could get there, and what measures we could use to track our progress. Even within the lens of economic development, to ask where we are as a region has involved gathering information on a wide variety of topics, including demographics, educational attainment, wages, income and employment participation, regional employers and industries, housing affordability, infrastructure, and much more. It has also meant looking at each locality's existing and planned land uses, assessing employment and mixed-use activity centers, and other data on sites or areas that are prioritized by localities for commercial use. For this SEDS, we were also fortunate to be able to incorporate Greater Richmond Partnership's assessment of the Richmond MSA's existing and emerging industry clusters. All of this background information, as well as input from stakeholders in the community, has helped provide a picture of where we are as a region, both in terms of our strengths that we could look to safeguard and the areas that could perhaps be opportunities for growth or improvement. As the strengths and opportunities identification helps provide a picture of where we are, the SEDS is also a framework to consider where we want to go and how we could get there, structured in the form of goals and the activities or actions that could help realize the goals. The draft SEDS has 6 goals, each of which has a set of strategies and actions. The goals address education, workforce development, infrastructure, business support and development, community needs and quality of life, which includes housing, and economic resilience. The draft plan also identifies prospective partners for each action. As this regional plan is intended to work in tandem with other local, regional, and state economic development plans and initiatives, and to work in tandem with other regional plans developed by PlanRVA, many of the items listed are projects that are underway or are planned. Inclusion in the SEDS can help share information about these efforts, aid coordination, and potentially support new resources for these efforts or their next steps over time. Finally, the SEDS considers the question of how we can monitor progress in each of these areas. This part of the plan identifies a preliminary set of indicators for each goal, while noting that this question will be a living question that is answered in coordination with the RVA Rising effort that you will hear about later this morning. The SEDS update has been guided by a steering committee of locality economic development staff and partners with expertise in workforce development, early childhood education, housing, and more. The process has also been informed by input from stakeholder organizations and from 2 rounds of community engagement. Input from the stakeholders and community was shared with the steering committee during its discussion of regional strengths and opportunities and during its work to develop the action plan portion of the document. The steering committee members are shown here, and we are so grateful to all of them for their time and expertise. We look forward to the next steps in the process, the most immediate of which is sharing the draft SEDS document with the public. At the conclusion of that process, the SEDS will be prepared for the board's review and consideration in mid-November. A follow-up step will be EDA review of the plan, and from there, ongoing work to move forward with implementation. We look forward to talking more about ways PlanRVA is considering facilitating the implementation process at the meeting in November, and indeed more about all aspects of the SEDS at the board's meeting in November. Thank you for your time this morning, and staff is happy to answer any questions you may have this time.
Thank you, Ms. Cook. Ms. Jaycox, you did exactly 7 minutes. You really set the bar exactly where it needs to be. So thank you very much for this very thorough presentation. Does anyone have any questions for either Ms. Cook or Ms. Jaycox?
I'm just curious, like regionally, what does it mean we have early childhood education funding or study? What does that actually mean? Like, I don't mean it to be like, to be aggressive. I know that there are states that are trying to address this. I know that there are small localities across the country that are trying to address it. I'm curious what it actually means for us regionally what's our bigger picture on it?
I can probably only maybe give you a snapshot today and hopefully more fully answer that for you going forward, but we were fortunate to have Thrive Birth at 5 as one of our steering committee members, representative. And there's a lot of work that is going on now, including a study they're doing to look at childcare gaps. But from there would be probably some things that they would identify as important to do as next steps, so.
So what I'm saying is like, would we end up with data that would say, hey, if you do this, this is economically gonna benefit your locality on this level. If you do that, you're missing out. So like, I, as an educator, I know the sooner we do this, the better resources we have. But people who are not in education, we can't necessarily see that on a regular basis. And I don't have data to support what I'm saying. I just have like, just my own observations, right? Of the sooner this child starts reading, the sooner this child starts writing, the sooner I can get this person into a higher paid job or into a more stronger economic setting. I just think for us as a region, it would be nice to have something that said, I can go back to my locality and say, hey, we want to support this because I have this data that's going to say why it impacts. So that would be helpful. That's all. It's just an observation. It's really, I don't mean it to be aggressive, but it can come across that way. So I apologize.
So we do rely heavily on Thrive Birth to 5, which is our early childhood and child care coalition for the region. They actually serve the greater MSA footprint down into the greater PDC as well. There are data points available that speak to the benefits of early childhood education and development as it relates to school readiness. And so that data is available and we can grab that for you. I think that the discussion as it relates to the SEDS is interesting because it's not only looking at the future of workforce from the kiddos that are in early childhood care today and what they'll be as workers in 15 to 20 years, but it also is a intervention strategy as it relates to today's workforce. So parents of children in the pre-K, preschool timeframe, as you all know, if they don't have reliable and safe and quality childcare, they can't reliably enter into the workforce. And so those data points are things that Thrive Birth to 5 is currently in process of really getting their arms around to be able to demonstrate the issues. We've got some early data, if I'm not mistaken, around the number of slots that exist and the waiting list that childcare providers are maintaining right now, but there are not enough childcare slots for the volume of need in the community. And we have that geographically based in some regards, but it's still because the universe of childcare providers are everything from family day homes and informal networks to the traditional childcare setting that people would drop off their child at 7:30 in the morning and pick up by 5. That whole range is what Thrive Birth to 5 is working on inventorying right now in partnership with the State Department of Education and DPOR and the Virginia Early Childhood Federation. So it's as Ellen said, it's very much a work in progress and identifying what those data knowledge gaps are. And then I'll say that last part that Thrive Birth to 5 has been focused on for probably the last 10 years is just, I think they call it the basics, where it's just really educating parents about the importance of early childhood and quality care. So particularly now in the technology age, nothing wrong with technology, but our iPhones and devices are not a substitute for care and education. And so making sure that that brain development is happening, to your point earlier, from a school readiness perspective is really important. And so the RVA Basics initiative is really around parent education and making sure that parents understand the importance of learning those building blocks early on.
I like that. No, that's great. I think both of your points are great. The from a parent perspective. Actually, I'd forgotten that early in our lives, my wife and I had to decide who was going to stay at home and who was going to go to work because
That's right.
we couldn't find childcare.
That's right.
I'd forgotten about that. You brought it up, to be honest.
And I'll just add,
30 years ago.
the cost of care for many people in the community, the cost of care is equivalent to the salary. And so those decisions are happening across the region for very many families.
Yeah, I consider red childcare deserts. Having access to quality, affordable, accessible childcare is really the challenge. Across our communities, I can count the number of early childhood centers in my district. You know, and so then if you have more than like, say, one child, is it affordable? Is it accessible? Do you have to travel to? And so, to Martha's point, 5 has been a leader, in that regard. I think we still have a lot of work to do with that. Head Start, early Head Start, VPI, tying all those pieces together. And with the cutbacks, I'm not sure how much of that will revert. But it's a real challenge. So I miss it.
And we're glad you're here. We know you are the superstar. Do it every meeting today. If there's a meeting in Richmond, Dr. Newbill is at it this morning. So we appreciate you being here and contributing very much.
Physically or
Yeah.
physically virtually, right?
In our hearts and minds.
Metaphorically.
Oh, Mr. Waddell, I see your hand is up.
Thank you very much. Interesting discussion on the challenges of education, especially early childhood education. I see that the development strategy is ongoing. Question about the steering committee. Has it met yet? And how many meetings? And will there be a follow-up strategy steering committee meeting?
Yes, yeah, the steering committee has met 5 times throughout this process. And the plan is to continue to meet with them on a regular basis going forward to share data, share updates about project progress. So yes, more to come.
Thank you. One final question. What weaknesses has the committee found? A broad sweeping question. What weaknesses besides the challenge of the early childhood development?
Well, there is a list in the draft plan that we're looking forward to sharing with you, so that I don't highlight one thing over another and call it out, especially if it would be all right with you. I could defer that until we have the full plan in front of you.
Okay.
Absolutely. We'll get it for you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Waddell.
Thank you very much.
You can put him back on mute now. Mr. Carroll, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I think this is great. But how are we as an organization communicating this information out to the public to educate them? I think, you know, anybody who might be watching right now may have asked that question. This is great that you're putting all this data together, but how does the actual citizen benefit from that? And how do they get their hands on it?
That's a great question.
Anybody got an answer for that one?
Through the public comment process that's launching.
Yes, the next step is that we will be sharing the document with the public. It will be posted on the Engage site that the agency has and advertised and open. This is kind of the last step in the engagement process. We have also had 2 earlier rounds as we went through talking about strengths and opportunities and about goals and potential actions to take. So we've been reaching out kind of to the public throughout the process.
This is a rather important topic, especially for young families. And I think that, I think it's great that we're going to put it on the website and all, but this is a topic that we need to push out even further than that. Someone perhaps even needs to do a TV interview and actually do a PSA to push this information out to the community, let them know the valuable work that you're doing. So anything that we can do to help in that respect, if you want to do a PSA, Mr. Engel, our chair, and myself, we'll talk to our staff and see if you want to come put something together that we can push out. I think it's really important information, and I think we needed the best thing we can do to get it out there. Not just put a document online. We need to push it out even further. We need to show these videos in all of our board of supervisors meetings and our city council meetings for the community to be able to see. So anything we can do to help.
So Ms. Cook, can you remind us when you said the public engagement period would be when?
30-day period.
30 days. And when does that start?
October 10th.
October 10th.
Hey, and I was just reminded, we have a great podcast too you can do.
I just wrote down your offer, and so we'll follow up with your team.
And the podcast. Anything we can do to push it out. I think this organization does great work. Every time I get amazed by some of the things we're doing. I just want to make sure that the community gets to know.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Ms. Cook. I'll say, and next we will welcome Sarah Stewart and Nicole Keller for our next spotlight topic, which is our air quality plan. And they're gonna update us on the region's comprehensive climate action plan that is also scheduled for completion this FY.
Should be coming up.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chair Stewart. So I'm Sarah Stewart. I'm PlanRVA's Director of Resilience, Emergency Management and Environment. And I'm joined this morning by Nicole Keller. She's PlanRVA's Resilience Planner. She is the project manager for the Pathways to the Future Air Quality Plan. It's a core plan, as Barbara mentioned, for the Pathways to the Future Regional Strategic Vision and Plan. I have a few brief remarks, then I'll hand it off to Nicole in just a second. So the creation of the air quality plan has been made possible with funding from EPA that was provided to states and large metropolitan statistical areas for what they refer to as a comprehensive climate action plan. This is actually a second phase, you could call it, that builds on the priority climate action plan, you may remember, that we completed back in March of 2024. So this is a comprehensive planning process that goes kind of behind this air quality plan. It considers activities economy-wide to better understand air pollution, greenhouse gas emissions, and the associated climate and health impacts. It's actually quite comprehensive in nature. The final plan will include a menu of measures that can be adopted by a single locality, several, or the entire region. By advancing the measures that will be included in the plan, we can work towards a variety of benefits that would include improved public health as well as a stronger economy in the green or clean energy economy. So the completed air quality plan will be submitted to EPA this coming December. And I believe that this commission board will see it in 2026 as part of a Pathways to the Future update. So I will now hand it off to Nicole. Yep.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be in front of this body. I'm not sure if most people recognize my face yet. So my name is Nicole Keller, and I'm the Resilience Planner for PlanRVA. So I'm going to give you a high-level overview of what we've been working on. So our air quality plan connects really to all 5 of our strategic vision goals, but most strongly it serves the healthy environment and strong economy goals. And that is because the goals of our plan, as well as those of the federal grant that funded its development, included reducing harmful air pollution and supporting the creation of jobs in a clean energy economy. So as Sarah mentioned, our plan does cover the entire MSA, which is pictured here, and at completion is giving us several different types of benefits and advantages. The top 3, from my view, I've highlighted here for you on the slide. So first is data. This is data that we have never had in this region on comprehensive emissions profile for the region and other toxic air pollutions as well. And it gives us a preview into where those factors are anticipated to go over the next 25 years with and without intervention. So it gives us a picture of where we are now and where we could go. Second it establishes some shared, agreed upon, data-driven goals for the region and what kind of future we want to see in terms of air pollution. And the plan really offers a menu of strategies, which we refer to as measures, for how air pollutants can be reduced. And it has some information on relative effectiveness of those measures, cost benefit, potential co-benefits, things like that. And our hope is that our member localities can look at their own data, consider their own goals, and look at the menu of strategies we've developed and kind of figure out what piece of the puzzle they want to tackle, right? Where do they fit into the plan?
And then third, this plan does become a core plan for PlanRVA. And because we developed it in collaboration with localities, it helps really align the future of the resilience work to the priorities of the region. All right, so all in all, there were 3 guiding forces impacting this plan. First and foremost was the project steering committee, on which sat staff from the MSA localities. Second was a series of work groups that we convened, which brought subject matter experts from both the private and nonprofit spheres together to share their expertise, their recommendations for their own industries, et cetera. And those were convened around each of the 6 sectors of the economy that the plan covers, as well as the workforce analysis portion of the plan. And then last but certainly not least was the voice of the public. So we really did a lot of public engagement for this plan, and we wanted to hear from the locality or from the communities what kind of solutions they wanted to see in their own neighborhoods. So we did several rounds of that. And earlier this year, we published the community report, which is what you see on your screen right now. And that really summarized what we heard from the communities in the first 2 rounds of public engagement. It's available for digital download at the URL that you see there, which is kind of small, but there's also physical copies out front for you to grab on your way out if you would like to see that. All right, and then just zooming out to give you a kind of a bird's eye view of where we've been, how long we've been working on this. We were first awarded this grant in August of 2023. And we immediately started on some public engagement. That culminated in the publication of that priority climate action plan you heard Sarah mention, which was a very kind of shortened, quick, here's what we could get rolling right now kind of plan that was published in March of 2024. And then we spent the rest of 2024 doing a much deeper public engagement push, as well as convening all of those stakeholders and starting to work with our contractors on the data analysis. So where we are right now, we are in draft review. We've got most of the plan put together. It's sitting with our locality staff right now. They're reviewing that, and the publication date will be December 1st of 2025. So look forward to that. But that's coming up. So what is next? Where do we go after publication? So looking a little bit beyond that, there's still a lot of work to be done. So first and foremost, we'll be extracting the PlanRVA portion of that data from the larger MSA profile so that we can continue to understand our own roles and track any changes in those pollutant emissions over time. Second, we'll be continuing to build out a much more robust public engagement website that will allow localities and members of the, members of the community to see what kind of progress is being made in the region. And our hope there is to really highlight initiatives, programs, projects that our localities are doing that are aligned with some of those reduction measures, to celebrate any kind of success. And then in 2027, the final deliverable to the EPA is due, which is a status report that must include updated GHG emissions, as well as an updated workforce analysis. All right, and then very quickly, just zooming right back in it's what we have to do between today and December 1st, 2025, to get the plan out. So this is a picture of a complicated Gantt chart, and I know it's too small to read. That's okay. What I want to draw your attention to is that large orange box kind of in the middle of your screen. That is the locality review period that we are in right now. So we're expecting comments from staff back by the end of the month. There will be a pretty quick turnaround making any adjustments to that they've requested before a public comment period. This is the 3rd and final round of public engagement that we'll be doing. That is open from October 13th through October 27th. We have some materials to help our localities push that opportunity out to residents that will be available online. So if anybody is interested in helping make that push, that's greatly appreciated. And then we'll do some final edits before the localities get one more look at it. Oop, went the wrong way. Before the localities get one more look at it and we get final approval. The goal is to actually turn the final deliverable into the EPA before Thanksgiving. Great, and that brings me to the end. That was very high level, so I welcome any questions.
When it comes to the emissions, who or what organizations actually doing data collection, not questions, but actual air testing and quality testing
Right.
within all of the different jurisdictions that we're saying we're reporting this on?
That's a great question. So the emissions profile is built from a wide range of sources that are cobbled together. Some of the data is not available at a super fine level. And so there is state level reporting that is scaled down based on either population or economic activity like employment, things like that. Some things are direct. We know, for example, there are emissions that have to be reported up to the EPA for certain sizes of factories, those kind of things. And then the EPA also produces calculations, formulas for figuring out your local level emissions on certain things like in transportation. Based on
But
vehicle
no one's
miles.
actually testing. Because that's what that's my question, not trying to be mean. But who's actually testing? In other words, if we go out, for example, and test water quality, we don't say it might be this, we actually stick something in the water, we test it to see what it is. I'm curious if we're actually doing, because I haven't heard of any of this being done in Chesterfield. So I'm curious if we are doing this, those are the results I want to see. If there is actual air quality testing that's being done, that's what I want to see. That's the data I need to see.
Yeah, the EPA does require some direct air quality testing. And
Cause I got a dump in my district, you can come test, people complain about it every day,
yeah,
every day.
right. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, that's okay, I made you laugh, it's good.
That's I appreciate that. So there is some direct measurement happening. But those are very generalized. There's only a handful of stations in our region that directly measure air quality, and they don't necessarily measure what this plan is calculating. So most of those air quality stations that you'll hear about and see about, they are measuring ozone, particulate matter, and those things. We do have some of that data in here, but the plan is more focused on the greenhouse gas emissions, which are not able to be directly measured by like an air sample per se. So those, just to let you know, the 6 greenhouse gases that are the primary focus of the plan include carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbons, and sulfur hexafluoride. So those are not usually capable of being directly measured from the air. That's why the EPA produces standardized methods for calculating what their emissions are based on your sources. Does that help answer the question?
Yeah, so I'm gonna try and find the data and take a look at it. That's important, I think. I'm sure you're aware of this, but you can't buy in Chesterfield, Henrico, Richmond, probably most of the, I know you can get it in Powhatan, but ethanol-free gas, right? Because there was an agreement years ago, like in the 70s, to say, we're not gonna, Chesterfield signed on to it, we're not gonna sell ethanol-free gas because of the emissions issue. So when we talk about putting a plan together and we're talking about data that we're collecting, I'm just really interested in the data.
Yeah, and we can actually share that because we'll have a full appendix that explains how each thing is calculated and what the sources are.
Thank you
I'm happy
very
to
much.
share that.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Madam Chair. Thank
Certainly.
you.
Does anyone else have any questions for Ms. Keller or Ms. Stewart? Feels very weird saying Ms. Stewart, by the way.
I have a broader comment, and this goes, it's good work, and we look forward to hearing more about it. As somebody who's gonna have some role in trying to take us back to the community, I would encourage as much as possible when these plans are being brought to this group, to be able to kind of position us to say, here's a couple of pieces of data that lead to this regional goal. All right, here are the outcomes you might get if we got that goal. And then here are projects that are going on already, and here are things that maybe we should be pushing for more of in the community, like not necessarily a one pager, but pretty crisp and clean. So, because we're gonna get questions about why is this a priority? Well, hopefully the data will help with that. And we're gonna get questions about, well, what have we been doing? And hopefully that can also be part of it, right? To make it simple for us to carry this message forward. And then as we're making decisions over the next couple of years to understand how they impact where this lands. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. And that is a lot of what the report, the full report will do. So I'm excited to maybe share more of that.
And Mr. Waddell, I see you have your hand up online.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. This plan is basically a data capture, looking for offenders or issues or things. There's no enforcement behind it. We're just basically doing the legwork for EPA. Is that right?
Well, it's giving us the data that we need to be able to plan for improved air quality, but you're right that there's no enforcement mechanism. This is data presentation and goal setting, direction setting in collaboration with the localities.
So we're kind of a force multiplier for the EPA.
I suppose you could say that. Yeah, we a lot of this data is not produced by the EPA that we could just go and download and already have. It was something that we had to produce ourselves. The EPA just gave us the money to be able to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Anyone
Ms.
else?
Stewart.
All right, well, thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right, I did want to welcome the members that have joined us. I know we had a Greater Richmond Partnership meeting overlapping with this one, so thank you for being here and no sweat. And with that, we will move on to number 3. And for the members that just got here, we spoke about earlier how our agenda has been reformatted a little bit to be more intentional on collaboration amongst the members and localities with what the staff is doing to further the strategic goals. So you'll kind of see that as we move through the agenda. So number 3 is set to kind of be a standing item where we talk about just a snapshot of what is going on within the work. So we'll invite Dr. Saren Adhikari and Isabel Elhike up. And they're going to highlight a key indicator from our regional data hub.
Madam Chair and members of PlanRVA board, good morning. I'm Saren Adhikari, Principal Data Manager here at PlanRVA. And thank you for this opportunity to share a brief update on our RVA Rising data efforts and the indicator works. I also want to recognize, first of all, our data team, Elizabeth Greenwell and Addie Alexander, who have been very instrumental for their excellent support on data development. And I also want to thank our core partners, Community Foundation, United Way of Greater Richmond, for their leadership, and Chamber RVA and Richmond Memorial Health Foundation for their guidance in this effort. With that, I'm pleased to invite Isabel Elhike, the Community Foundation's Vice President and of Research and Strategy, who also leads RVA Rising's data effort, to share an update on the recent development on the rewarding work there.
Thank you, Sari. Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here today. I'm here to give you an update on RVA Rising's data framework development, and I want to briefly share the progress we're making on building a measurement infrastructure that will serve all 9 of your jurisdictions. RVA Rising is our regional North Star, the collaborative effort to build economic mobility across the Richmond region. What I'm presenting today is the data and measurement that underpins this initiative. This isn't just about collecting numbers. We're building analytical capacity that'll help government officials like yourselves make evidence-based decisions about economic mobility within your communities and the region at large. So as Serene said, my role in this, I'm the Community Foundation Executive on Loan to PlanRVA, and I'm working with a stellar data team in the data strategy development for RVA Rising. What you'll see today is an evidence-based measurement framework that's being built to serve practical decision-making needs across all of your jurisdictions. So let me start a little bit with why this work matters by showing you some of the data that has gotten us organized in the first place. So some of you might be familiar with economist Roz Chetty's economic mobility data work. Here's a quick snapshot, because the wake-up call is very clear. Data show that young adults from low-income families in our region are earning 8% less than their parents did. They're moving backwards, not forwards. Harvard economist Roz Chetty's research hit us all with hard truths about economic mobility. Richmond is ranking 38 out of 50 major metro areas for changes in economic mobility. So we're getting worse. It's more difficult to be economically mobile in our region. And we're 49th out of 50 in absolute economic mobility. So out of 50 major metro areas, we're ranking 49 out of 50 in at the ability to be economically mobile within our region. And this isn't just academic research, it translates into real impacts into your communities. Over 4 in 10 households across the region struggle to afford basic needs. But here's what makes this different from other regions facing similar challenges. We're organized, a data-driven response. So for example, while Charlotte was once ranked last and turned things around, they now rank number 3 in changes to overall mobility. And we're working with the Leading on Opportunity team in Charlotte to institute some of their best practices and workflows. So we're not just hoping for improvement, we're building the measurement infrastructure to track our progress systematically. The data infrastructure we're building will help all of us understand not just where we need to stand, but where the leverage points are for improvement. So RVA Rising isn't just starting from scratch. We've spent over 2 years building the foundation, conducting research, engaging over 1,000 residents, and bringing together a powerful coalition. Our goal is simple but powerful: remove barriers so that success is driven by potential, not by where someone lives or the color of their skin. The backbone organizations you see here have made a collective 10-year commitment to this work, and we're aligning resources, strategies, and data across 9 jurisdictions to build mobility together. This isn't just aspirational, we're organizing it to deliver. What makes this particularly relevant for elected officials like yourselves is that we're building a shared infrastructure that benefits all jurisdictions. So rather than each locality trying to tackle these complex economic mobility challenges alone, we're pooling expertise and resources. So the data framework I'm presenting today is part of this broader collaborative infrastructure, and it's designed to serve all 9 localities with consistent, high-quality measurement that informs your local decision-making. This formal 10-year partnership agreement shows how we've structured the work across our organizations. Notice that PlanRVA and the Community Foundation are co-leading data and metrics, and that's where I've come in. I'm specifically leading this data infrastructure development. And this just isn't just a handshake agreement, it's a formal commitment with clear roles, and it's bringing philanthropic resources and convening power. PlanRVA is bringing regional planning and data expertise and government connections. The Chamber is bringing business engagement. United Way is bringing direct service coordination and ALICE data. And the Richmond Memorial Health Foundation is bringing a health equity focus. What this means for your jurisdictions is that we're building something sustainable and coordinated. Rather than having multiple organizations, each creating their own measurement approaches and interventions, we're developing one evidence-based framework that serves everyone. The data infrastructure we're building will give all 9 localities access to consistent, high-quality metrics that can inform your local planning and investment decisions. And this partnership structure also means that the work continues beyond any single funding or election cycle or staff transition, and it's really built for the long haul. So this slide represents what RVA Rising as a whole is bringing to the table. We make connections, offer resources that support greater efficiency, alignment, and scaled impact across the region. The RVA Rising initiative creates 4 key types of value: shared data and metrics. That's what we're working on here at PlanRVA, aggregating information across your jurisdictions. And instead of each county developing its own approach to measuring economic mobility, this is where we're building one sophisticated system that serves everybody. Narrative and storytelling helps all of us communicate consistently about why economic mobility matters and what progress looks like. And the community engagement efforts ensure that we're hearing from residents across all 9 localities, not just individual county feedback. And our strategy and policy work helps identify regional gaps and opportunities that no single jurisdiction might be able to tackle alone. Okay, so now I'd like to explain a bit about the framework that I'm going to explain the framework using a car analogy. So this is important for our government officials because it explains the kind of data tool we're building for you. Drivers, seen at the top, rewarding work, are like the engine. The big conditions that make everything run. Think about major economic systems in your county or city. Indicators are the dashboard lights and gauges that tell you if a system is functioning well. And the metrics, those are the actual readings: 45 miles an hour, 200-degree temp engine, quarter tank of gas. These are the specific data points that we track. So here's the crucial part for how you'll use this data. When the oil light flashes on your dashboard, you don't pull out that light bulb to solve the problem. You have to look under the hood. And so that's exactly how these indicators are working in RVA Rising. They tell us where mobility is breaking down, but they don't automatically tell us how to fix it. So this framework prevents the common mistake of treating symptoms instead of causes. The data infrastructure we're building will help you identify opportunities and issue areas in your counties, but it won't make simplistic assumptions about solutions. So at the top of the screen, you'll see the 5 main drivers that shape mobility outcomes in our region. They're rewarding work, high-quality education, opportunity-rich and inclusive neighborhoods, healthy environment and access to good health care, and responsive and just governance. Think of these as the major systems that need to work well for people to achieve upward mobility. Today, I'm focusing on the rewarding work driver to show you how our measurement approach works, but we're applying the same systematic framework across all 5 drivers. For rewarding work, there are 5 evidence-based indicators that research shows are crucial: employment opportunities, jobs paying a living wage, opportunities for income advancement, financial security, and wealth building opportunities. So these indicators appear as warning lights on our mobility dashboard. They tell us where the rewarding work system might be breaking down, but they don't automatically tell us how to fix it. That's a key insight for government officials. The data will help you identify problem areas, but the solutions are going to require ongoing local analysis, community engagement. So this is probably the most important slide for understanding the framework because the indicators are diagnostic tools, not prescriptions. So when employment opportunities or opportunity scores might be poor in the region, the data isn't automatically telling us to just go out and create more jobs. We need to investigate why people can't access the work that exists. The real barriers might be transportation. Jobs exist, but you can't get to them. Or it could be skills mismatch, criminal background screening policies. Earlier in the session, lack of childcare. We're looking at the lack of childcare and the cost of childcare against low and high wage occupations. So this is where your local knowledge as administrators becomes critical. The regional data framework identifies where mobility is breaking down, but you know your counties or communities the best. You'll need to look under the hood to understand what's actually causing the issues. That's separate work requiring ongoing community engagement, nonprofit engagement, and local analysis. But having this diagnostic framework prevents you from making assumptions or jumping to solutions that don't address the root causes. The data helps you ask better questions about what's really happening. So here's the scope of our current work. We're working it through driver by driver, and we've launched a working group within the rewarding work driver. We've researched over 70 potential metrics across different themes related to rewarding work, and we've narrowed that down to about 25 candidate metrics. And our job in the upcoming sessions in the working groups is to select about 15 metrics that will give us the most strategic value. We're balancing 3 types of metrics: visionary metrics that show us where we want to go, investment metrics that track our inputs and activities, and performance metrics that measure actual outcomes. We want at least 1 metric per indicator to ensure we're covering all key areas. And remember, we're selecting the specific data points that'll help us track our indicators, the dashboard readings that tell us how our rewarding work driver is performing. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for metrics that help focus our collective measurement work and give government administrators useful information for decision-making and alignment. So we've organized the selection process for rewarding work around 3 logical themes. Our first session in October will focus on access. You can't have rewarding work without work opportunities. Session 2 examines quality, ensuring jobs support families and advancement. And session 3 addresses sustainability, those supports that make work viable long-term, and will complete a final portfolio review. Each session builds on the previous one, and we have representatives from many of the localities in the working group to ensure the metrics we select work for everybody's needs. So that completes the update on the data framework development. This measurement infrastructure will help all of us make better decisions about economic mobility investments in our communities. I'm happy to take any questions about the framework or the measurement approach.
Thank you, Madam. That's right. Thank you for the presentation. I'm excited to see that we're going to be looking at the local level by jurisdiction. I am curious, however, the data that you showed regarding Richmond ranking, was that the Richmond region or?
Region, the MSA. Okay. It's not specifically that it is larger in the Chetty data. So it's the MSA.
Oh, it's the MSA.
Not just the 9 localities we're talking about.
Madam Chair. Spoke on indicators. You also talked about barriers. Is there any barriers you'd be willing to flush out for us that we could have an impact on in the meantime?
Barriers on workforce development?
Yeah, just on, talked about lots of barriers, but is there anything that we could kind of dive into regionally in the meantime?
I'm not sure really how to tackle that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see, any other questions? Let's see, what I do, number 1, thank you for the very large wealth of thorough information. What I want you all to remember is that we are going to take action shortly on an RVA rising commitment. So what Ms. Elhike described is gonna be, we're gonna talk about it again a little bit further down in the agenda. So I think what's relevant and important, and you all can add on to this if you would like, but I think what's relevant and important is that she is the lone executive here working with PlanRVA to further this data collection so that we can use it to further the region and our shared goals. So I know that was a lot of information. She's been working very hard, as the team has, doing this every day to further, and we just have to hear it in 5 minutes. So I don't want to overshadow what she's doing, but we will talk about it in a few minutes. I'll just ask you to stay in the room in case there are any other questions when we get to that. But thank you very much, and thank you, Sarah.
So you said that there was going to be people represented. Is that maybe something we're gonna talk about too? From every locality on this committee that there's or getting information from?
We could circulate the list of the working group members. We did concerted outreach to all 9 localities. There's not all 9 localities represented, but it's not too late if you'd like to have inclusion if it didn't work out with folks.
We're working with Dr. Worsley in the state.
Yep.
Absolutely. We'll do it as part of the follow-up.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank
you.
All right, and next we are going to move on with Holly Gordon and Kristen Hott sharing an upcoming opportunities for community input and provide an update on outcomes from recent engagement activities. Welcome.
Holly is virtual and leading, so I'm here.
Welcome to awkwardly standing there.
Kristen can do a dance number while we're here. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Holly Gordon. I'm the Senior Community Engagement Manager here. And this presentation represents the work of our engagement team, which also includes Kristen Hott in the room, our Community Engagement Coordinator. So some of you heard about our engagement site earlier, and this is a thing that we are very excited about that we launched last year, which is a way to both get input from the public and also disseminate information more clearly to the public about the ways they can get involved and actually have input on the plans. And so some of the questions that came up earlier about each of the presentations you saw, you can actually read more about the public input that we've received so far and where we are in the process by visiting the Engage site. And I would encourage you can scan that QR code or go to the website. You can share this with your localities and your networks. And there's also a way that you can actually click a follow button on each of these projects if you would like to get pushed through updates when there are changes. So that way you don't have to always go back and visit. You can actually get notified on the things that you care about. So these are the dates for some of these upcoming engagements that were mentioned earlier so that you have them handy. Both the SEDS and the air quality plan are in their draft final plan stage, and we will be asking for input on what the final plan says. And so those will both be open around the same time of those dates on the screen there that you can give feedback on. And we will take up any of your recommendations of how to share or to get this to your localities. There's also a toolkit on each of these pages that will have images and sample text for you to be able to easily share with your networks. And then the last thing that's upcoming most recently is our natural resources plan. We're actually in the second public input survey period to ask people, here are the goals that we captured from what you said to us earlier and what the region needs. Are these the right things? So that'll open up, I think, in November. And then we wanted to also give you a little bit of information about where we've been this summer. So in addition to going out about specific plans, we are trying to get out into the community as much as possible. So this is a snapshot of where we've been as an engagement team since August and highlighting what program areas we're covering. Sometimes we're covering a specific area. Sometimes we're going to talk about several. Often when we're visiting locations, it's a regional bent, but sometimes it's very specific, like the New Kent Groves Transportation Community Meeting was requested by New Kent, and one of our CTAC members from New Kent is going to be co-leading that. And I'm going through this very quickly, so I have more of this later if you need to know, but we also are presenting and doing professional development. This includes learning that we're doing, but also ways that we show up as leaders and conveners in the region. And so this also shows you kind of where we're going, what kinds of content we're learning about or sharing about, and where. some of you will get a longer version of this presentation at the TPO meeting next month because we will be presenting about the update of our engagement for the long-range transportation plan, but this is a sneak peek. This is the largest engagement we've done this year. It's a 2-year plan, the LRTP, but the primary engagement happened at the beginning of this year. And these are the primary strategies that we are going into the community leading with in order to reach folks. And this is a little bit of update on numbers. So in that 4-month period, which is the first engagement period, this is how we reach folks online. So via our social pinpoint site, the engagement site, which is engage.planrva, how many people were viewing and visiting. And we had over 2,000 contributions to input, both with our mapper that many of you did, and also our actual survey. And then in person, this is where we went. So we went to 50 different events in those 4 months and engaged almost 2,000 people. We aimed to go where the people were, to do activities and share about what they wanted to see in the long-range transportation plan. This is a snapshot of our engagement site. It was brand new to us, and the beauty of what this number at the top right is that the staff behind this platform told us that a standard engagement rate for their sites was around 2 to 12%. They told us that ours was 47.5%. So that is good news, considers a great success that seems like it's working and is a tool that we should continue to invest in. Now, lastly, the next LRTP engagement will be coming. So again, like I said, a 2-year plan. So the next place that folks can contribute is the universe of projects will be available in December for folks to see. Here are the things that the data and the public told us they wanted. Excuse me. And then we will revisit the public. Many of the groups that we saw last time, we told them, hey, we'd like to come back a couple times, and we'll be going out and asking them to prioritize and tell us what they would like to fund of those projects in January through March of next year. And that's it.
Thank you, Holly.
I'm here to answer any questions and add any additional contact.
We're
if
glad you're
needed.
here and healthy. Does anyone have any questions for online or in the room? So I think it was pretty clear by our conversation, both in executive committee this morning and in full commission today, that we're very interested in how we can assist you all in better engaging with our localities and how we can be helpful in bolstering the efforts that you have here. So I think that this tool is great. And I think that anything that we can do to help you is good. We just need it to be easy for us to do. I think I'm speaking for everyone saying we're willing to do it. We just need you to give it to us, deliver us a nice package, and we will carry it from there. So, and I know you guys have been very busy. I follow you on Facebook, so I see where you're everywhere all the time. Thank you for the hard work that you're doing, and we look forward to continuing to engage and reading about the projects and being helpful where we can be helpful. Everyone doing okay? Good. We're going to move on to section C of our agenda, and within the new format, this is going to standardly be where we do the business of the commission. No, sorry, we're good, right? Yeah. Okay. So as I said 5 minutes ago, Tim, we have worked with RVA Rising through Isabel's great work and Ms. Schickel's great leadership in joining this regional organization to become a greater regional organization. So we have formed with PlanRVA, us, Chamber RVA, the Community Foundation, and the Richmond Memorial Health Foundation and the United Way to create what they have named RVA Rising. And I could describe it for you, but I'm going to let Ms. Schickel because she can do it more eloquently than I. But I will let you know that we in the executive committee recommended that she sign an agreement, a declaration of cooperation for our participation. And the reason I thought it was important to do that is if we're going to be working towards this regional goal with all of our regional partners, we needed to really formalize that and show that we're not just talking about it, we're actually doing it. And that's very, very important to me, but I'll let Ms. Schickel kind of describe beyond what Isabel's already described what's going on, talk about the higher level view of the organization.
Thank you. Yeah, so just to add to some of the things that Isabel shared with you in the slides, and I'll just kind of emphasize some of those slides. Really what we and our 4 partners are endeavoring to do is create a movement. It's not easy, and it's been a little bit, I'll say, difficult even for us to really understand and define what does it mean to create a movement. We're not trying to create a new organization. We're not trying to create another sort of structure and board and committees, but we really are trying to, just like we adopted the regional strategic vision here in June, we really are trying to leverage this collective action to move in the same direction as a region, with economic mobility being our North Star. So there are many, many other organizations that are part of this effort and will actually be those that are formally carrying the water. The 5 organizations that are party to this declaration of cooperation are working to leverage our shared and collective strengths individually and shared together to create the environment where that forward movement is possible. So the work that Isabel talked about today and the work of our data team is one piece of that, one product, if you will, from the Declaration of Cooperation around creating better understanding of data and better use of data to make decision making. Similarly, RVA Rising, this partnership that we have formed with our 4 other peer regional organizations, are working to create that shared narrative and storytelling, create a playbook for how we in RVA can do community engagement in a meaningful way, and to be able to promote the idea of action and direction moving forward. So I want to make really clear, this is not 5 organizations attempting to move the needle on economic mobility. It's 5 organizations leveraging the resources that we have to support everyone in the community moving the needle on economic mobility. We know that we alone cannot do this, and we know that there are organizations across the region that are already doing this work. We just want to be able to provide more tools in the toolbox to move that work farther, faster. That's a nuance that's really hard to describe every time we go into different organizations and groups. And I've given, I think, 3 presentations this month at regional boards, and we're not doing the work. We're trying to bring the support to the table. So I think about it, if you're wanting to build a house and you're using, and I'm not as great at the metaphors as Isabel is, so I haven't tested this with you yet. But I think about if you're trying to build a house and you went to a flea market to get all of the building materials, it would be scattered everywhere and you'd be kind of scavenging. That's sort of what we're doing right now. So we're trying to get all of those building materials into like a Lowe's type format with great signage and wayfinding to be able to find what you need when you need it, instead of having to sort of sift through the grab bag of things that might be available. And that's really what the 5-party work partnership is about. The Declaration of Cooperation that the Executive Committee authorized me to sign today is that commitment that we 5 organizations are going to stay in it for the long haul. And we're going to continue to work with all of our partners across the region to move the needle. So I'm happy to answer questions. We're very much forming and norming as we go with this. As you can imagine, you all do this every day. The effort that it takes to really partner, not just work with, but partner, is intense. And it's something that I think we're really proud to be at this stage, but it's by no means the finish line. It's really just like, we just agreed to sign up for the race today. And that's really where we are. And we've got to still go through all of the steps to move it. And so we're excited to be able to bring you updates moving forward, particularly as it shows up in our work. But it's a big opportunity to be able to leverage the capacity and skill sets of the other organizations that we're teaming up with.
Anyone have any questions, Ms. Schickel? Awesome.
I have one.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
Dr. Rogic, yeah, go.
So there's 5 organizations within RVA Rising. Is the goal to add more through RVA Rising, or?
So I want to be clear, there's 5 organizations that are part of this Declaration of Cooperation. I think we're definitely open to adding more to that Declaration of Cooperation. We have lent thought leadership and resources to form this movement called RVA Rising, but it's open source. So, I mean, really, there's not a gate, and there's not an invitation being extended to select people to be a part of RVA Rising. We've socialized the concept with a lot of organizations, which of course is a finite number, but it's really an opt-in, select-in process with RVA Rising. The party agreement would be something that anytime somebody wants to raise their hand and say, like, we're willing to bring these leadership capabilities, we could consider that, and they could, I mean, I think we're pretty clear that 5 organizations aren't gonna be able to carry all the load. It's just where we're starting. So I hope that that answers that question. And I'll just be clear, many of you sit on other regional organization boards, GRP having met today. I mean, we've talked regularly with Jen Wakefield about this and what the strategy that GRP has adopted earlier this year, not only how that embeds into the comprehensive economic development strategy, but also how it fits into this greater conversation around economic mobility. We want to make sure that the data, narrative, and storytelling is useful to GRP as they tell the external story of the Richmond region from an economic development prospecting perspective. We want to make sure that we get that right so that we're not hindering our ability to bring business into the region. We're doing the same with Richmond Region Tourism, you know, many different other organizations that operate kind of on behalf of and with the region. It just so happens that these 5 organizations have been the place that we've started to say we think we've got some resources that we can bring to bear collectively. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions on that one? Awesome. I look forward to hearing, number one, being a part of the work that you all are doing, but hearing about the good work and how we can support all of our organizations, missions, and move forward productively.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
Sorry, I do want to just, like Mr. Donati, I think about the workshop that I came to a couple of months ago in Powhatan and some of the questions that were raised from board members. And I mean, I talked with Will just a couple weeks ago about health access, which is something that came up in the conversation with the board of supervisor members. And it's because of this partnership that we have that I'll be able to introduce Will to Reggie Gordon at the Health Foundation. We can start to talk about health access and make sure that, you know, and it's because of coming to Mr. Raley's, Dr. Raley's new county administrator reception kind of meet and greet. I met Toby and I got to talk about what Goochland Powhatan's Community Services Board. So it's these connections that through RVA Rising that we're starting to build to be able to bring, I think, more people into the conversation about some pretty critical needs. I've seen some real power in that, particularly for our smaller and more rural localities that aren't often like at the table in some of these conversations. That's been, I think, a powerful kind of tangible thing. And then it's also, I hope, creating a lens where this data can be useful for our larger jurisdictions that have a lot of sophistication, but are looking for some program evaluation support or other types of resources. So we've already been able to identify some pretty tangible ways to move a conversation into something more than that through this partnership. Sorry.
No, that's a very helpful addition. I really hate talking about stuff that we can't put into action. So I really appreciate the effort that goes into this. If there are no more questions, we'll move on to the next, which is committee formation and appointments. And I want to start first and foremost by just thanking everyone that has been willing to come forward and be a part of the committee. And if you arrive late, you get to be the chair of the committee. So I'm pleased to announce Mr. Davis as the chair of our finance committee. Serving with Dr. Newville, our treasurer, and Mr. Spoonhour on that committee. And then the second committee is our public outreach and engagement committee. And I reached out to everyone that was already serving on the committee to see if they wanted to continue serving. So this is a list of folks that have responded to me. And this committee is not exclusive. If anybody today wants to join the committee or in the future would like to join the committee, please let me know. We'd be happy to include you in that. But right now, the membership of that committee we have is Mr. Bass, Mr. Davey chairing the committee, Reverend Hathaway, Mr. Petrosky, Ms. Schneider, and Mr. Waddell. It sounds like from our previous conversation today that we're very excited to engage. So I look forward to working with all of you on how we can further that activity there. So does anybody have any desire to serve on public outreach and engagement that I did not call? Is there anybody that's not here that you would like to volunteer to serve? Say, Mr. Chambers, did you?
Yeah, I have been on the outreach committee and missed your email saying that I'd like to continue with that. That's okay with me.
We would love to have you.
Madam Chair, Charles City, I would like to join that committee as well.
Awesome. We'll send around the collection plate after this.
That would be called inReach.
Yes, yes, that is true. That is very true. Well, thank you all again for your willingness to serve, and I am here obviously as your chair, but I'm willing and able to assist you in any way, so please always feel free to contact me with anything. Ms. Schickel knows that I will respond to text, so if you need something, please text, call, or email me. I'm here for you. So with that, we will move on to our second business item, which is, it feels like we've done more than two, but we're on two, which is our consent agenda. And within the consent agenda, we have our June 12th, 2025 meeting minutes, our audit, finance, and facilities committee materials, which is our financial statement from June 30th, and our intergovernmental and environmental reviews. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns on those? And if not, I would entertain a motion to approve those items in a block. Do we have a second?
Second.
We can do a voice vote. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Right. Now we're on to the fun part of business. Dr. McGraw, I think we've got some special recognitions.
Yes. I don't see Jim Holland here. Okay, well, if somebody from Enrico would like to take this to him or. I'm overwhelmed by these big tanks. I live in an 8 square mile like locality. Like, it's always, whenever I'm going down 95, I'm always amazed by all the traffic because I'm just not used to it. Like, you know, the longest thing I have to wait for is a train and have this one stoplight to work, and that's it.
Mr. Carroll's district is almost as large as all of Henrico County.
Wow. Wow. So I'm gonna go in reverse order of what you see here and talk about Jim Holland and in recognition of our past chair, Sean Davis. He always likes to do Latin quotes, and I'm a Latin teacher, but I never start things with Latin quotes. And so I always was amazed, like he would pronounce stuff and he uses ecclesiastical Latin. And I'm like, I teach classical Latin. So anyway, I'm not gonna get into it. It's kind of like Old English versus modern English, but it's okay. So I'm gonna start off with just, there are traits that the ancient Romans had value in. And two of those real important traits are amikitia and pietas. And amikitia is friendship, and it sounds just like, oh, that's simple, but no, friendship in the sense that you're friends with people that you ordinarily may not be friends with. You're welcoming them, you include them, you make sure that they're heard, their voices, their concerns. Pietas is dedication to duty and honor and dignity into one's faith and one's country and so forth. And from day one, Jim Holland was both of those. You know, I remember being overwhelmed my first time coming to the PlanRVA meeting, and he was the first one to welcome me with a firm handshake and warmth and just listening to me. He didn't come to me with advice automatically. He wanted to hear my story, and he was that way the whole time. And this year he's been that. He's been dedicated to everything and very communicative when he wasn't able to participate. And then even when he probably shouldn't participate, he was still trying to participate. And so I just wanted to recognize him with the service award for PlanRVA, because I really thought he went over and beyond this year, and he's been that way anyway. So this is for Jim Holland. And so do I give it to you, Mr. Engel? So thank you. And leadership award, and it's interesting, you show up late, you become the leader. So Semper Fi, right? Semper Fidelis. Some people don't understand what that means though. Again, Fidelis, Semper Fidelis is a classical Roman belief about how you should be. And it's not just being always loyal. It's also about being always in the moment when you need to be in the moment, doing the things that need to be done, being semper paratus, always prepared. It's not just being just honorable, but also knowing what to do, applying what to do, and then getting it done. And Sean Davis has been like that for me from day one. When I came in, I think you were the next chair, and there's a lot of stuff that was going on. We had to meet online. You know, I remember being that little head in the during the COVID years, and people were meeting face to face, you still made it happen, you still made it continue, then you served on extra chairs. I was slated to come in and be vice chair and I wasn't ready, and you recognized that, but didn't hold me back from eventually evolving. You helped guide me to become the chair, and then you helped me the whole time through. And I really appreciate that. And then when I needed stuff done, I picked up the phone, called you, and you're like, yes, I get it done. Yes, I'll do it. Yeah, I got a lot on my plate, but I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. So when I hear Semper Fidelis, when I hear Semper Fi, you embody that. And so I greatly appreciate that. And so Leadership Award, I want to give to Sean Davis. Shit. We get it, Jay. And Jordan, before I do this last one, you don't have to give out awards, so don't feel pressured. This is just something.
Mental notes of like.
Yeah, I realize that, but they should be real. Like, it's not just because, we're not just giving an award just to give an award. It's not to the end. And so there've been years when chairs gave no awards, not because people didn't work hard, they just didn't. And then other years when they gave a bunch of awards, and these are just, for me, real. And so I just say that to you so that, if you feel the impulse, great. If you don't, that's great too. There should be no pressure. So I just want to say that, because I know you're taking all these notes and like, oh gosh, I gotta do this. Oh gosh, no, you don't have to. You get to. So anyway, this last one goes to it's going to be for Dr. Cynthia Newbell, and the quote I have for that is "Dum spiro spero," and it means while I breathe, I hope. And so the whole time, I remember the first time I came, I was like, wow, she's so quiet, she's so nice, and she's quiet and nice. But the first time she spoke at a budget meeting, I was like, wow, this is a powerful woman. This woman knows what she's talking about. She's run her research, she's read everything, she's asking very detailed questions, pinpoint, and if someone dances around the question, she comes right back to it. And she's been great about that. And I took lots of mental notes watching Dr. Newbell. And this year, her passion for educational growth really came out when the JLARC study came out, and she's like, you know what, I'm gonna just take this and run with it. I'm not gonna just sit by and let a document just melt away into the ether. And she worked across aisles, across districts, created a plan, a statement that represented PlanRVA, that went to the General Assembly. And I really feel like that embodies what Patricia Page did. Many of you remember Patricia Page. She really was focused in on expanding 64, getting this done, focused, not deviating from the path to the point where I'll just say it. I know it's cliche now, but I'm gonna say it. When somebody said in one of the chairs in a meeting, said, hey, can we stop talking about expanding 64? And she said, well, once 64 is expanded, we can stop talking about it. And so I would say the same thing for Dr. Newbell. We can stop talking about education once education's been expanded, once it's grown, once it's done more. And it's not more just educating children that I hear you talk about. It's the whole encompass of what education is. And I've been really impressed with you this year. And so I want to say the Patricia Page Award for Commitment to Excellence and Honor will go to Dr. Cynthia Newbell. And that includes my pollution. Oh, well, I'm sorry, since I still have the floor. I'm not gonna be serving on PlanRVA going forward. My mayor, Trevette, will be replacing me. And it's just, I got a lot going on within my workforce, and I've taken on some extra roles, and for right now, I need to take a break. So I do want you to know it's been an honor serving with you guys. If I'm back with you again, I'll be super excited. Just know that this has been like the greatest board I've ever been on. So I greatly appreciate all of you.
Well, you're always welcome here. Unfortunately for you guys, I'm not as graceful and eloquent as Dr. McGraw. But we do have some more recognitions. I want to recognize first, someone who helped me figure out what needs to be on my calendar, how to get to this building, how to get into this room, where the bathroom is, everything that is foundational to just existing here. You know, when I got elected, I won and I was like, oh yay. And then the next day I was like, oh crap. What do I do when I have all of these things and I don't know what to do and how to do? But Janice Scott helped me figure out what to do. So I would like to read this resolution that's been prepared in recognition of her 4 years of service here at PlanRVA. Sadly, she'll be leaving us. But I know that Martha has prepared her next person well, but I'm gonna read this now. Whereas Janice Scott joined the Richmond Regional Planning District Commission, now known as PlanRVA, on September 1, 2021. And whereas Janice has been an integral part of the agency, having provided support to the agency, boards and committees, and brought her extensive background in state and local government operations to drive an improvement. And whereas Janice has managed multiple committees and work groups within a complex board structure, and whereas Janice has led the development of the framework that supports the agency's streamlined committee and work group model, and whereas Janice has been instrumental in advancing the completion of the board site for PlanRVA, the Richmond Regional Transportation Organization, and the Central Virginia Transportation Authority, and whereas Janice Scott has exemplified the highest qualities of public service throughout her career and has earned widespread appreciation for her adaptability and resourcefulness, leaving behind a legacy of hard work and high standards. And now therefore be it resolved that the members of PlanRVA do hereby express their sincere appreciation to Janice Scott for her dedicated service. Be it further resolved that the members of PlanRVA extend their best wishes that during her retirement she shall have continued good faith, good health, prosperity, and enjoyment of life for many years to come. Do we need to move this? All right, okay. I will entertain a motion to accept this resolution.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
should we make you do a roll call vote? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? On motion duly made and seconded, the members of Richmond Regional Planning District Commission voted unanimously to adopt this resolution.
You can't imagine how hard it was to prepare a resolution without Janice being involved.
Yeah.
All right, and next we are recognizing someone with even longer experience here at PlanRVA. Just shows the true dedication and commitment to this organization that we have members of the staff that have been here for 4, 5, 15 years. So I would like to read a resolution recognizing Sulabh Arial for his 15 years of service here at PlanRVA. So bear with me while I read this all. Whereas Sulabh Arial joined the Richmond Regional Planning District Commission, now known as PlanRVA, on January 1, 2010. And whereas over the course of his 15 years with PlanRVA, Sulabh has been an integral part of the agency, having progressed from intern to his key leadership role today. And whereas Sulabh has developed the Metropolitan Planning Organization's performance-based planning program, and whereas Sulabh has led the development of Connect RVA 2045 by designing and scoring and prioritization framework now used by the Transportation Planning Organization and Central Virginia Transportation Authority to allocate significant funding and regional transportation investments. And whereas Sulabh has directed Pathways to the Future, pioneering regional scenario planning for the Richmond area to guide long-term growth and resilient strategies. And whereas Sulabh has represented the region nationally as a member of the Association of Metropolitan Planning Organizations Technical Committee, influencing federal transportation policy. And whereas Sulabh Arial has exemplified the highest qualities of public service throughout his career and has earned widespread appreciation for his steadfast and pragmatic approach, leaving behind a legacy of hard work and high standards. Now therefore be it resolved that the members of PlanRVA do hereby express their sincere appreciation to Sulabh Arial for his dedicated service. Be it further resolved that PlanRVA extends its best wishes that he shall have continued good health, prosperity, and enjoyment of life for many years to come. Now I'll entertain a motion to accept. Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? On motion duly made and seconded, the members of the Richmond Regional Planning District Commission voted unanimously to adopt this resolution.
Sulab's last day with us is tomorrow.
Oh.
And we will be celebrating with him this afternoon as a staff, but I just want to echo everything that was in the resolution and to wish you the best of luck in your new endeavors in Florida.
And thank you so much. Glad I served a reason for 15 years.
Now, this one had to get a frame for this one. So the resolution for this young man is for someone who, not Sean Davis, but is someone who I got to sit next to for the last year and learn how to do the job of being chair. So if I do a bad job, blame him. But I just so appreciated his thoughtful approach to how we did everything, knowing that we all come from different regions or different localities in the same region. We have different backgrounds, different beliefs, but really appreciated everyone's input and just valued them as a person and what they bring to the organization. So I'm going to read another resolution for our former chair, Dr. Daniel McGraw. So whereas Daniel McGraw has served the citizens of the town of Ashland as council member since July 2018, and whereas Daniel McGraw has a long history of civic engagement, including service on the Ashland Kiwanis, Ashland Board of Zoning Appeals, Ashland Parks and Rec Committee, and as an alternate member of the Central Virginia Transportation Authority, and whereas Daniel McGraw impacts the lives of countless students as Latin teacher for Liberty Middle and Patrick Henry High Schools, and whereas Daniel McGraw further impacts the lives of those students as well as faculty and staff of Hanover County Public Schools through his work as a CLC professional developer, Blackboard professional developer, ESL instructor, CAS IB coordinator, webmaster, FLES program leader,
Somebody did some bad.
teacher leader,
Somebody did some bad.
CLC, assistant athletic director, and bus driver. And whereas Daniel McGraw has also served the youth of Hanover County through his years as a dedicated soccer, field hockey, football, and volleyball coach. And whereas Daniel McGraw has served on the Richmond Regional Planning District Commission, now known as PlanRVA, and its executive committee since July 1, 2018. And whereas Daniel McGraw was elected by his fellow commissioners to serve as the chair of the PlanRVA Commission from July 2024 through June 2025. And whereas Chair Daniel McGraw skillfully facilitated discussion and dialogue among members on significant agency decisions and the critical issues facing the region. And whereas Daniel McGraw stepped down from the PlanRVA in September 2025, leaving behind a legacy of bringing thought-provoking speakers and programs to the commission. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the members of PlanRVA do hereby express their sincere appreciation to Daniel McGraw for his dedicated service. Be it further resolved that PlanRVA extends its best wishes that he shall have continued success, prosperity, and enjoyment of life for many years to come. So I'll accept a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That'd be very awkward. On motion duly made and seconded, the members of the PlanRVA Commission voted unanimously to adopt this resolution.
Do it. Yeah, certain things they should be. No, check.
Now that I've demonstrated I can read to everyone, I want to just thank everyone again and thank you to the staff for preparing those so thoughtfully. All right. Our last section on our agenda today is the Regional Roundtable Innovation and Collaboration Showcase. In this part of the agenda, we are really hoping to highlight what we're doing across the region, and we'll get to another exciting part on number 2. But on number 1, we're going to have a mission moment. And as I talk with Ms. Schickel, if anyone serves on Richmond Regional Tourism, that's something that I really enjoy there, is where we set an intention for what we're doing. And I think that putting it here on this agenda is a good spot to be. So we'll invite Holly Gordon back to share, she's online, right? Yeah. To share a brief story of a recent opportunity to connect with another regional council.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. wanted to share a very fulfilling experience I had as a result of presenting at a national conference. So we had applied to NATO, the National Professional Organization, National Association of Development Organizations, for an award for 2025 for our Rural Public Transportation Plan. We were awarded that award, and then they asked us to come present on it at their regional transportation conference in Iowa this summer. So I went to present about the work we did related to public engagement and rural planning. And the angle that I brought to that was generally an angle of my whole career, which is everyone is creative, and I want to bring creativity to every type of engagement experience I can. So my session was actually utilizing this creative sprint deck from a local company, Another Limited Rebellion. You may know Noah and Micah Scalen. They are local artists and entrepreneurs, and they created this deck that encourages people to create within constraint. And so each of the prompts are about usually making or creating something. And so the session I ran was asking people to create in the moment and think about how they might apply that to their engagement opportunities back in their home cities. And during that presentation, there was a man in the front row who was very stone-faced really the whole time. And he didn't seem like he was interested, and I didn't think that I was getting through to him. And I was worried about that, but thought, okay, well, can't reach everyone. Well, afterwards, Patrick, turns out his name was, came up to me immediately after and asked if I could give this very same presentation to his board at the North Central New Mexico Economic Development District. Now, I was quite shocked that he was interested because he didn't seem like I was getting through to him, but apparently he does not show his emotions on his face. Patrick and I ended up having a really great conversation, and I presented to his board a very shortened version of the session that I did, which was essentially just getting people to be creative. I suggested some creative materials he could buy. He went out and got them, pipe cleaners, colored paper, some sort of building materials. This is a picture of the virtual screenshot of the board meeting and creating. And what was beautiful that came out of this was that the entire mood of the room changed after we did the session. It was a very dry board meeting up until then. And after this, people were laughing, they were talking to each other, they were sharing. The whole room changed. And that was a beautiful thing to witness, even virtually. And then I'm going to end with what people said. So they actually debriefed themselves. I didn't actually create this. The room actually wanted to debrief. And these are some of the things that people said from that experience. And that's one of the pictures of someone online who had made a creation. He was virtual. That's not Patrick. But I was really overjoyed to see how influential just giving people a chance to think differently was, and how they were also recognizing their impact because they had a chance to think about people differently from them. So super success. Was really happy that we were able to be a resource to other NPOs, especially with something as fun as creativity.
Thank you, Holly. This is just a very small highlight of the work you all do and its importance here in the region, but really demonstrating that our region we have the best people working on our strategic plans and goals. So I appreciate all the work you do here and how it's represented outwardly. Does anybody have any questions for Holly before we move on? Well, thank you. In our last bit of new excitement is what we're going to be calling the local showcase. And as I said at the beginning of the meeting, our hope is that when you come to these meetings, number one, you get something out of it other than sitting next to your future best friend or former best friend. But that we're really spending meaningful time together that benefits the region. So I'm going to kick off this first one with a member and commissioner engagement. And the plan will be for each of the following meetings for a locality to do the same thing. So maybe next time it's Chesterfield and you highlight something that's going on. And this can be a challenge, an opportunity, something that a future event that's coming up that you want to advertise, whatever you want it to be. And I'm going to kick it off with a kind of challenging one that I am dealing with in New Kent, and something that Martha and her team is helping me work through. But don't think you have to bring problems every time. You can also bring good stuff. So right now, as you all have heard, I think in the past 6 or 7 months, Martha has been very gracious to help New Kent figure out what we're going to do with about a 200-acre plot of land where we have tossed around making it a park, trying to give it to the state, make a state park, athletic fields, just kind of what do we do with this plot of county-owned land that could really benefit the county. it also happens to be my district. So I want to be clear that I have, desires to not just sit there and mow the grass on this plot of land. And so this kind of happened naturally by having lunch with Martha and our economic development director one day, where she was like, oh, I think we could, help you work through this process, even create what the process looks like as far as public engagement, data availability, just those type of opportunities. And I was very excited about that because I just didn't know where to start when trying to develop a park. And we've gone through this process now, 7 months maybe? So we've been working on this about 7 months, and at our last board meeting, we talked about the great work that PlanRVA has put in the preliminary planning process. And what I consider in my metaphors or analogies, like if you're gonna stick your foot in something, we've just put our pinky toe in it. This is, we're just figuring out what is in the realm of the possible. And this sparked a lot of public feedback, primarily from a federally recognized Indian tribe. And that presented the opportunity for us, and I'm gonna categorize it as an opportunity because I really don't know what to do yet with it. They expressed that they wanted to be involved in the planning process, whatever we do with this park, because their tribe has some claim to parts of the property, which makes sense in our region. In New Kent, we've got a ton of Native American history, as I think that we probably do throughout our region. And we met, our administrator and myself met with the tribe, with their chief, and with one of their council employees, I think would be the right characterization, and went through, what they would like to see, what we might be doing. And it just brought up to me that we, as in the county, really have very little idea and understanding of how we appropriately involve federally recognized tribes, because that's not something that we have experience doing. And I think it was very timely because I know Martha and some of your staff attended the event last week talking about kind of how we do this involving a lot of tribes. But it's something that we're working on and dealing with and choosing to find the opportunity rather than the challenge in it. But PlanRVA has helped, number one, be there next to us saying this is the data we have, but help us work through different options, and just be another sounding board in how we include an entity that the federal government has decided is included, and how we interact with them as a government to government entity. So I bring that to you all as a local showcase of something that we're doing, and it's not sexy, it's not cool, it's not gonna make the headlines necessarily, but it is a real planning activity that is benefiting from our membership in this organization. So I will leave you all with that, and I will hope that next time another locality has something to share that's going on. Anybody have any questions about member showcases, or I hope not how to incorporate federally recognized tribe, because I don't have those answers yet, but I'll share them with you, when we do find out how to do that, because I think it's gonna be, as more tribes become federally recognized, I think it is gonna be something that we encounter more often. So, all right. Well, actually, does anybody want to go next? Any locality want to?
So, are you going to, the Indigenous Peoples' Day is, on the 13th of October, and it's down in Churchill area, Lynchburg, and so I just, letting you know, all tribes from the area will be there, so.
Good to know, thank you.
The 13th.
Does anyone have a desire for the locality to go next in the partner showcase for our next meeting? We could give it to Sean Davis again, but,
Hanover it is.
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Sure. Absolutely.
Speaking of the tribes, the Chickahominy tribe in our county, Charles City County, is having their annual powwow on the 27th and 28th. That's this weekend. Yeah, so welcome you guys to come on out and support the tribe.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Great event.
Yes. So, all right. Well, next we have, I believe, what we are calling our partner showcase with CVTA, our TPO, and the EMAC-V. Ms. Schickel said that all of their reports are included in your packet.
Yeah.
And unless anybody has any questions specific to those, I will let you read those at your leisure. Does anyone have any announcements or anything for the good of the order? Well, again, I appreciate everyone being here and our time together and all the work that we'll do in the next 9 months. Well, with that, I will say adjourned.
No, I was.
You did.